Hello, everybody. Welcome into the latest. I started too soon. Welcome into our latest live video. Today, it's Saturday, the 1st of June, 2024. My name is Carey Holzman, and thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday show. Every once in a while, we're able to get a weekend show in, and this one wasn't planned. This sort of happened as a result of this machine right here arriving in the mail unexpectedly yesterday. And I want to jump on this because so far, as far as I can tell, I'm the first review that exists. So the problem with being first, of course, is I might miss a lot of things. However, I want to see with my own eyes a true, real, genuine, unedited, live unboxing experience. We are going to share this experience together. I have not done any preparation work whatsoever with regards to even opening this box and looking inside. We're going to do that, you and I, right now, live and together. We're also going to scan it to make sure there's no malware or viruses on it. We're going to see if we go through the out-of-box experience. And then, assuming everything is good, well, good or bad, we're going to continue on with just the overview of the machine, its specifications, and we'll do our best to answer any questions that you have. Now, this AceMagic StarShip M2A mini PC is a gaming PC, and its specs look an awful lot like the Cube that we reviewed earlier, a couple of months ago, also from AceMagic. It seems like it has the same CPU processor. They put it into a fancier and larger case. This is a much larger box than I was expecting. And we've got a link to Amazon, which shows this at $1,800. There's a couple different versions, though, depending on which graphics card. There's a $200 off coupon. And it does appear, as of right now, the AceMagic site is down, I'm guessing, for maintenance. I don't know. But that's unfortunate because I need to make the video today. I can't wait for them to bring the site back up. But do bear in mind that that's just today as of June 1st, 2024 here in the USA. I believe the site is up in other countries like Germany. So if you're curious and you want to see the specs, we'll go ahead and link to Amazon now in the video notes, and you can jump ahead if you want to and see the different pictures and angles of what should be in this box. And I'm really excited because when I saw this promoted, I was like, ooh, that's very eye-catching. It's very different. Nobody else has a mini gaming PC that looks anything like this. And that's what I want to see. I want to see some ingenuity. I want to see some creativity. And I want to see something other than a square box. Now, if this is for business, I don't want to see this. I want to see the square, unobtrusive, kind of easily overlooked box, right? That's ideal for business. This is more ideal for a home user and particularly somebody who's gaming. We've got a real portable, a real mobile laptop style graphics chip in here. The Nvidia RTX 3060, 3070, or 3080 should be the choices, and the price will vary accordingly. Before we get started, thank you to our members and everyone in blue joining us today, as well as to the contributions from our friend Mark Gaines with 20 pounds. Says, hello, Carey, Marlena, DG, and everyone in the chat. Hey, Mark, thank you for joining us. Mark joins us from Northern Ireland. Thank you for your continued support. Also to Luke Greenia and our good friend, Buster. You'll see him in the chat room as Peter Laycock, who joins us from Scotland. And he's been very generous to us. And I would be remiss if I did not shout him out with, that's not even enough credit, but to make sure that we acknowledge, and you all acknowledge, the contributions of those of you who contribute or making these videos possible. That being said, AceMagic did send us this machine for free in exchange for a review with no conditions, no strings, no commitments. That's why we're doing this live, and we're doing it today. It's my own free will. It's my own choice. And we're going to evaluate this together. We're going to experience it for the first time together. And I don't know any other YouTube channel that does this with computers. So we're also trying to be creative and different to what everybody else is doing. And hopefully you see a value in that, which clearly some of you do, such as Rick Lakes with a $10 super chat. Says, hello, Carey and Marlena. Hey, Rick, good to see you, my friend. Rick joins us from Minnesota. And Ben Laird from Scotland with a £2 contribution. Right on. Thank you, Ben. Our friend Luke Greeny, always good to see you, my friend. Thank you for your contribution. Our friend Oystein, joining us from Norway, says hello. And, wow, we got a nice crowd in here today. It looks like some folks are joining us from Doug Betts. Live Windows training with Doug Betts video just ended and then transferred. Is it transferring? I don't know. Yeah, there's a way that you can, when your live stream ends, that you can refer your live viewers to another video. And that looks like what Doug Betts has done. Thank you, Doug. If you've not seen Doug Betts' YouTube channel, he does live technical support and shares some of his stories as a real-life technician of current projects he's working on, plus past stories. So if you enjoy that kind of content, it's very similar to some of the content I make. He does an excellent job, and it's a nice, tight-knit community, and they're always welcoming more like-minded individuals to join them. Everybody's welcome there. And I just want to make sure I'm not leaving any, am I leaving anybody out? Oh, our friend Tony Wallow, of course, with $1.99 in Super Chat, and also an earlier contribution as well. So great to see Tony. Thank you so much, Tony. Always good to see you again. Our friend NetFreak joins us. I failed to shout out his contribution yesterday. My apologies, NetFreak. Some reason my email on my phone didn't update properly, and after the show, when I checked my email on my laptop, I saw a bunch of emails I didn't see on the phone. I don't know how that happened, but I apologize for that oversight. There's Zero Core saying hello, and Jonathan, Alhaj Depej, and Black Watch, Jason Willis. Welcome in, everyone. Now, are we ready to do this? What's in this box? Are we going to like it? Are we going to hate it? Kind of exciting to find out. I hope you're as excited as I am. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that AceMagic sent this to us, because there's no way I was going to buy it just to make one video one time. I don't have the budget for it. However, couldn't ask for a better scenario. Not only did they send it to us, as far as I can tell, they sent it to us first. So that means a lot to me as well. I am hoping I'm going to be impressed, and I hope you will be too. But that's yet to be determined. If I thought for a minute I wasn't going to like this, I wouldn't bother reviewing it. Just know that right out of the gate. There has been a little controversy that we should address with AceMagic regarding a contractor that they used for their software installs. A company cannot stay in business if they're doing that maliciously. They will not have a business anymore. So AceMagic is trying to rebuild their reputation and correct the issues. Are they corrected? Let's find out. Okay, doing it. The box is opening. I hope there's not a brick in here. I shouldn't have said that. Sometimes when you order things from Amazon and it's not coming from an Amazon official warehouse, sometimes you can be surprised. But this came directly from AceMagic. All right, we've got a user's manual. We have this. We have a lid foam on the back. Ooh, it's getting exciting. In the box, it looks like this. Oh, it's not that big. Okay. All right, let's walk this up close to the camera. Have you ever seen one of these before? Anywhere besides the pictures that are online that AceMagic has provided? It's like, is that our power button? It has a little LED projector down here that shines the AceMagic logo on your desk. Remember the Sega Tep, the big UFO-looking spaceship machine? Remember it had that logo that shined down on the desk? Kind of reminiscent of that. We've got a fan in here. Oh, look at all the ports. We've got 6 USB 3s. We've got a barrel-style power connector, 2 LAN jacks, a DisplayPort. I can hold it still. 2 HDMI ports over here. Our 3.5 millimeter audio. We have a USB Type-C that says warning, avoid plugging or unplugging Type-C devices when the computer is off. If it doesn't turn on, try reconnecting the power source. Interesting. We have what appears to be a Kensington lock down here. I don't know what thing is next to that. I don't know what that is. Doesn't have a logo or anything over it. Okay, so both sides. Matthew Burton says, I'm sold. We haven't even turned it on. It does kind of look like a TIE fighter from Star Wars, doesn't it? Mark Gaines is saying, I thought it'd be cool if I had one of my X-Wing models, the toys, X-Wing toys from the 1970s that I used to play with as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. But I don't want to worry about any copyright violations. Bottom, let's take a look at the bottom. Again, that's the projector that's going to shine down on the desk. This tells us our specs down here. It looks like 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte storage. It's a Core i9-12900H. This is the RTX 3070 model. It's going to use a 19-volt input, which is very similar to a laptop. Very common, the 19-volt power adapters. Okay, what do you think so far? You ever seen anything like this before? Look at that. I'm just looking in the chat right now. Pitching parts of conversations. Okay. In the rest of the box, let's see what else we have included. Oh, that's just that piece of plastic. Oh, just this box. Oh, that's heavy. I think that's it. Yeah, that's all there is. So I'm going to put this foam back and this foam back in order to free up some space here on the desk. Then we can roll up our sleeves and get to work. All right. Set this over here. I've been alerted that I lost my sound. My apologies. I was talking about the power brick, so I'm not quite sure where I lost sound. I don't know how I lost it, but regardless, we should be good again. And yeah, Mara just called me to tell me. Anyway, thank you, Mara. Lord knows how long I would have gone before I noticed my audio meter not moving. Live video. It's live. Now, the power adapter. I don't like it when companies don't put their name on the power adapter for the thing the power adapter goes to. These power adapters with a barrel connector are so common, but it's just the end that's common, not this part. So if the polarity's backwards, if the voltage is wrong, if you mix these two things up with something else that takes the same, some people think, well, it fits, it must be the right one. Not in the case of barrel power connectors. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's been that way as far back as I can remember. So what I like to do, if there isn't something that identifies the manufacturer of the device it plugs into, I'll get a silver Sharpie or a label maker, right on the power adapter, because if these two things get separated, I want to be absolutely certain I'm plugging the right thing in. The manufacturer's name on the back of this is a completely different company that just makes power supplies, which isn't helpful to me. So just bear that in mind if you have any of these around the house or numerous electronic devices that have a standard barrel connector plug. To avoid that mistake, I would label them, or you can go to the store and you can buy a silver Sharpie if the device is black and just write on it. It doesn't have to be fancy. And that can avoid any potential future issues. Finally, I guess that's it for the accessories. We have an HDMI cable. All right, so let me put this back in here, because we'll use my standard PC power cable. Let's get this hooked up and fire it up for the very first time. So let's see, I need power there. I need HDMI. We're not going to plug the network in yet. I need a keyboard and a mouse. Plug it in the back for now. Actually, typically a keyboard and mouse would plug into the back. Any front USB ports you'd want to use for things you're plugging and unplugging. Does this have any front USB ports? Is this open? Don't know. Feels like this should open somehow. Probably should read the directions, but I try to see how intuitive this stuff is. There's got to be a way. I really feel like there should be something behind this we can see. Well, I'll figure that out. Maybe it doesn't come off. I don't know yet. We'll get there. Power. Let's grab some power. And we'll plug it into the adapter over here, which is unfortunate. It's on this side of the desk, opposite of where I have power. We have a little blue indicator on the power adapter that indicates it's at least getting power. That helps any troubleshooting if you're diagnosing a machine that won't turn on. Okay. Oh, I should probably do a picture-in-picture, shouldn't I? Let's turn on our HDMI input, and then trying to figure out the best way to do this. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I really want you to see this thing light up. So I think I'm going to cut all the lights in here. For dramatic effect, it's going to get really dark. And then I'm going to just hit that button. And here we go. You can see it says AceMagic right here on the desk. We've got RGB here and around here. And we've got a little LCD screen right up here. And I might have to get the close-up camera out to see this. However, while it's doing that, let's see how it's booting. Let me go over to, let me just put myself in a corner so you can keep an eye on it. It appears we're going through a true out-of-box experience here. That's what we want to see. This is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And let's see, English, US, yes. United States, yes. Keyboard, United States, yes. Secondary language on the keyboard, no. Accept the license agreement. We'll create a username. Let's just call it StarShip. Enter, no password. And then we finalize our Windows 11 installation. That is how every new PC first boot up should look like. It should not boot right into a desktop like we saw with other lesser known mini PC manufacturers. This is a great sign. We're off to a very good start. All right. While we're waiting for that, let me see if I can get a close-up camera running here. I don't know if my batteries are charged on this, so let's find out. Let's see. We'll put that there. Grab up here. Ugh. And let's see here. See if I get this turned on. Hopefully we've got enough battery in here that we can cover it. And let's see. This mouse, and we'll come over here with me for just a second. We're going to go to close-up camera right here. Turn off camera 1 for a second. Now we can see it. Okay, so you can see we've got this screen right here that we can adjust different information to be displayed. It's not a touch screen or anything like that. There's the logo shining down on the desk. Oh, and there goes. So the problem with these Sony cameras, just bear with me for a second, is the battery drains even when the cameras are off. And so because it's been a while since we used it, it has died on me. So hang in there for just 1 second, and I will get some power to this camera manually so that we're not relying on the battery. This is going to be easier said than done. Hang in there, guys. Can't tell which USB cable, if that's a Type-C or a micro. It's been a while since I've used this camera. Hang on just a second. Give me just a minute. We're going to fix this right quick. I think it's a micro. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, we're going to try this again. Should have plugged this in last night. I didn't think about it, but we should be back up and running, and I apologize for that disruption. Okay, anyway, so that's the logo shining on the desk. That's our front screen. Here's our RGB along the sides, our RGB along the top. We've got some labels up here. Kind of a view from the side there. Okay, so that's what we are working with today. There's our power button. Does. All right, so let's explore some more. Let me go back over to camera one. Actually, no, let's go to let's go back to our Windows desktop. That way nobody gets too much motion sickness with that. And then I will set this camera down and let it charge up in case we need it again. It'll be ready next time. All right. Now, I don't know what version of Windows this has. I don't know how out of date it might be. I think the very first thing we should probably do is, well, first of all, we're going to plug in the network so we can give it internet access. Let's do that first. And then let's grab, without doing anything to the machine, just fresh out of the box, let's grab Malwarebytes and let's do a full scan. So let's see, what do I want to do? Here. And here I am. That up. Lovely Microsoft Edge making us answer all these questions. What's that out? Your clock is behind. Hey, that's nice. I like that. Obviously, this is put together in another country in a different time zone, and it should auto-synchronize the clock here in just a minute. It looks like it just did. That's what happens when you're in too big of a hurry. And now it should work. And let's do Malwarebytes. It's my free down. Go back. Free download is right up here. Okay. There it is. Start installing this. I'm going to run a full scan. Paul Connolly says it reminds him of a Netgear router case. You know, I wasn't thinking of that. What I was thinking was the router TP-Link has been advertising for a year. They haven't released yet. Can't remember the name of it. Seems like it would go really well with this, though. And it's been coming soon now for over a year. We've yet to see it. But when I saw this, that was the first thing that came to mind, as I thought, wow, those two could go together. But all right, let's go back to Malwarebytes. Still installing. Oh, I just finished downloading. Okay. Patrick Manny says this starts at $1,061 with all the promotions applied and including tax. Just add to the cart for the price cut. Good to know. That's actually a very good price. All right, let's start Malwarebytes here. Started. Later. Start the trial. Got it. Started. And let's do a custom scan. Now, you know, these custom scans can take a while. We can do the quick scan just to get it done quickly. But if we really want to be thorough, we want to do that deeper scan, which could take 20 to 40 minutes. But before we go into the deep scan, let's just do the quick scan because it only takes a few seconds, just to make sure we don't see anything here under detections. We want that to stay at 0. That means nothing is there that's active. The deep scan will show something there that's, if there's something there that's detected but not active, which means it could be something you click on or something that you would activate by mistake, essentially a file you would have to click on, or it could be remnants from something left over. So far, that's good. Now, how do we do the deep scan? We're going to click on the 3 dots, go to advanced scan. We're going to do a custom scan, configure it. We're going to scan for rootkits. And that's the C drive we want to scan right there. The only thing we have to choose from. Now, this is going to scan every single file, whether it's in use or not. And we want to see that detection stay at 0. All right? Because this is where the issue has been in the past, recent past. And it's what a lot of people who watch a lot of YouTube videos have on their mind right now, here in June of 2024, which I hope was just a temporary stumble. And we're about to find out, okay? Now, with that said, let me go back over to camera 1 because this is going to take a few minutes. It's probably also downloading updates to Windows automatically in the background because that's what Windows does. So we're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone as we patiently wait out the scan process. So while that's scanning, I guess let's go back to full screen on camera 1. And let me take a look in the chat and address any questions you guys have for me if I can answer them. All right, I'll do my best. Luke Greenia says, I'm liking the appearance of this mini PC. If it performs as well, I think AceMagic might have a legit winner for the market. Well, I'm sure that's what AceMagic's trying to do. I'm sure that's their goal. Is it Bluetooth capable? Yes, so Ray Gallagher's asking that in the chat. All mini PCs have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, just as all laptops do. El Hedge says that is a huge power supply. It is, but you're almost pulling out an equivalent of desktop power out of this thing. This is no slouch. I mean, this is a pretty powerful machine. You're looking at a flagship 12900H processor along with the RTX 3070. And of course, a 3080 would need even more power. I'm assuming you get the same power supply across the board to make things simpler and less expensive for the manufacturer. Yeah, 19 volts, I think close to 16 amps is what that can deliver up to. Now, there should be some software for controlling this front information screen, putting the information you want on it, which we haven't gotten to yet. And I wanted to quickly look in this little manual here because I'm curious if that front panel opens in any way or if that's a cover that's not meant to be removed. I can't really tell yet. From what I can gather, all the ports are in the back. I was wondering if there might be like USB or audio behind that, but apparently not. The other interesting thing is, despite the thickness of this manual, the only part that's saying English is the first page and nothing on the back of the first page. The second page which is disclaimer and cautions, fine print. The third and fourth page, which is a diagram of the unit explaining what all the ports are and what's included in the box. Another diagram of where things can be connected, and then a troubleshooting guide. The troubleshooting guide is continued on behind that page. And then basic parameters, which is what I think they mean to say is the specifications of the unit are all listed here and here, along with some after sales service information. And then it moves to the next language. That's it. So only that part right there is English. The rest of this is multiple other languages, the same information provided in multiple languages. So it does appear that that front does not open up. It just looks to me like there's a port right here that I can't get to, but maybe that's actually a screw. Yeah. This is an interesting piece. I wonder what that does. If that lights up, is it just there for looks? I guess it's just there for looks. These new experiences are so fun for me to go through this discovery and not have spoilers, you know? For me, anyway. This is fun. Thomas MacT, now a member for 21 months. He says, I cannot live chat. Sure looks to me like you're live chatting. That's weird. Let me see. No, you look fine over here. Try a normal chat message and what happens? Or it may be a browser setting. Abdul Azim Patel says if you take that 19 volts times 16 amps, you get about 304 watts. It's a little less than 16. I think it's 15.93 or something. So we're probably at 300 watts would be my guess. That's maximum. Odalian says, love from Romania. Right on. Well, thank you. I love it that we have viewers from all over the world. That just tickles me every time. Blackjack Yak says the inability to chat could be an issue on YouTube's end. I've heard of similar issues this week. Interesting. That's the first I've ever heard it. But I would definitely try a different browser just to check, just for the sake of experimentation. If you're not using Chrome, I would be using Chrome. Bigcast WRX says good evening from London, and Saps147 says hello from Manchester in the UK. Chris R says Brave will do that at times too. So I don't know how many people use the Brave browser, but I would say if you're having any issues, try Chrome. Claudio Ventura says love from Portugal. Right on. Well, thank you, Claudio. Welcome in from Portugal. What's that big city there? Porto? Paul M says that would be interesting to take to a LAN party. Where am I? Oh, I don't have the right screen up. I'm trying to figure out why I can't see myself. Saturday broadcast, man. You got to give me some slack. I didn't know I was doing this yesterday. All right. The good problem to have, though. I like problems like this, and these little mistakes keep it real. Gary Tatum recommends Thomas MacT check if the date and time is set correctly on his computer. Always a good step to check. Be surprised how that can affect everyday operation. Aaron Werner says hello from Jacksonville, Florida. Claudio says, yes, I am from Porto, Portugal. Oh, right on. My ancestry on my mother's side is very Portuguese. And I was going to say I have a friend that lives in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which isn't Portugal, but they speak Portuguese there. So she's fluent, 4 different languages. friend I grew up with in Detroit moved there and lives there now. Anyway, let's see. Morton 1210 joins us and says hello. Welcome in, Morton. Let me check how we're doing over here. I know the scan's going to take a while, but let's see how our progress is looking. Detections says 0. That's what I want to see. Remember, this is all real, live. It's happening live. There's no prep. There's no rehearsal. And this is the first time I've ever seen it in my life. Same as it's likely the first time you've ever seen it in your life. It is the closest thing to a virtual reality experience I can give you. And again, I don't know any other YouTube channel that does it this way. It does make the videos longer. However, that's life, right? Life is not a commercial. So many people get so accustomed to watching commercials. When they see a longer video, they're like, why isn't this a commercial? Why isn't this 20 minutes long or less? Because I'm not making a commercial. And it's weird that people would want that. So that's why I do this. Some people just don't get it, and that's okay. You guys do, so you're the important ones. You're the ones that matter. And I'm sure there will be other reviews of this coming soon. That'll be the commercials those people want to see. Marlena says this might be display worthy. Might be. So when we're thinking about Studio C, as we're working on renovating that, we're thinking about some kind of display of past projects behind me, including the Starship or the Tube or the Xenos, maybe even the Threadripper, original Threadripper build with everybody, all the names of contributors on the front of it, and having that sort of as a display behind us. And we have to figure out a way to power it so we get all the RGB working on it. Otherwise, they're just boxes. You know what I mean? They're stunning when they're lit up. But we got to get the walls painted and the floors in before we even think of stuff like that. Zero Course says, some of us are just the opposite. I refuse to watch TV because I hate commercials so much. Yeah, but the problem here on YouTube is we have a lot of content creators that are creating commercials. They claim to be reviews, but they're paid to do the review. You can't be paid to do a review. You're either doing a review or you're doing an ad. It's one or the other. So if you're getting paid, that's not, I'm sorry, that immediately takes it off the table as a review. You're already biased. You already have something to risk. In other words, you risk losing money or future money from that company if they're paying you. They're not paying you to give them a bad review. Would you pay somebody to give you a bad review? So if you want a true, honest review, the best thing you can do is go buy the product yourself, but it gets really expensive. The second best thing is for a company to send a product without any conditions. A lot of times companies that want to send products for review, they want some control of it. And that suggests to me they don't trust me. We're right out of the gate, not doing well. So when a company like AceMagic or Minis Forum, when these companies, and those just naming a couple, when they send us a product to review, we are never, ever paid for it. Not ever. Never have been, never will be. I just saw my LEDs go out on the back of my Ethernet port here. Let me see what's going on. Still scanning, nothing looking. Did the globe show up here? You know what might have happened? Okay, the LEDs came back on for LAN activity. I think it's installing drivers, and then I think it just went to sleep. Yeah. I suppose I should probably change the sleep mode so it won't do that again. Go full screen over here, and then we'll go to edit power plan. Yeah, there's the problem. We'll set that to 3 hours, and we'll set this to never, so we won't deal with that again during the live broadcast. But that's a standard default on a clean Windows install. We're doing really, really good here. 0 detections. We're still perfect. Okay, back over to camera 1 and back over to your comments and questions, your thoughts. Love to hear them. Camper says, I look sleep deprived. I need to sleep more. Yeah, well, you know, it's called adulting. We're not here for a fashion show, and I'm not modeling. Please don't allow my looks to affect the review. If you really want your focus and attention on this, it's not about me. But yes, things are very busy right now, but it'll all be worth it when we're done. So stick with us. The sooner we get it done, the sooner we can relax and take a deep breath. Until then, I'm probably going to look a little stressed out for a little while. That's okay, though. We are making progress. Every day, we're further along than they were the day before. And our handyman, Tom, is just cranking it out, man. He is just he's making fantastic progress, much, much faster than I thought. So I am happy to see somebody that takes pride in their work and at the same time isn't dilly-dallying. Cypress wants to know what I think about the Windows 24 H2 update, which will screen record everything you do. Well, we don't know that the final update will contain that, but you can turn it off. It's not like you have to have that turned on. So it's just a matter of what you think about it. It doesn't matter what I think about it. So when 24H2 is actually released and we can see what it actually comes with, talking about it now is nothing more than conjecture and speculation, which is a waste of time. We don't really know what the final product will be yet. And if that does end up in the final product, we'll show you how you can turn it on or off. It'll likely be on by default, but it'll be no big deal. It's like 2 clicks of the mouse and it's off. I don't know why anybody cares. But with the European Union sort of frowning on that, it may be that they just turn it off entirely. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I wouldn't waste any time with anxiety over things beyond your control that haven't yet been released to the public and are subject to change until they do. That's par for the course with Microsoft. So we'll see what it ends up being in reality, and we'll talk about it when it's real. Deuce X Machadio with a $2 super chat. He says, gives me PC Engine shuttle console vibes. Yeah, I was thinking TIE Fighter from Star Wars, but definitely has a sci-fi look to it for sure. Kind of curious about something. FM Lazar says, are you familiar with Chris Titus's optimization scripts? I am, and I don't recommend them. When you start customizing a PC like that, you're handicapping yourself, or at least I would be as a computer technician. Understand that in my real life profession, I work on customers' computers. They are not customized with that script in any way. And if they were, I would charge my customers more because it would make any diagnostic much, much more difficult. So it's very important to me to provide support to my customers equally at the same price with the same level of service and quality by everybody staying the same. The minute you start customizing things and changing things, the price and the amount of time go hand in hand that I have to spend to figure out what the heck is going on with your computer. So if you want to play with toys like that, that is a great thing for you to do at home. In a business, that will get you fired. So there is a very big difference between enthusiasts and professionals. And there are certain things professionals won't touch with a 10-foot pole that home users couldn't live without. I see it as creating a crutch for yourself, and I don't recommend it unless you just like to toy. If your computer's a toy, play. If your computer is a tool, don't play. You know, if you break your tool, there could be serious consequences. If you break your toy, well, you know, you may not like it, but the consequences are very different. I think Chris Titus, he's a very smart guy. I admire the quality of work that he does. I have no qualms in that regard. But if you're asking me my opinion on any optimization tool in a professional environment where you're dealing with hundreds or thousands of computers that could vary in how they are configured, it can make any level of support almost impossible to do in a timely manner without having to hire other people to help you. And then everything goes up in price and everything takes longer. That's why I don't use it. Oystein, Oystein from Norway contributes 100 Norwegian krona. That's NOK is the type of currency. He says, I appreciate your honest review. Well, thank you. Well, we certainly appreciate having you here. Let me take a quick look here. Once again, let's see our progress. Still going, progressing nicely. I want to see my side of things. Let's see. How would I do this? Let me see. I want to try a little experiment here. I'm kind of curious if this will work. I have no idea if it'll look good or not, but since we're sort of biding our time here, let me see. Let's see. Here, here, that. And if we try a green screen, let's go to filters, add a chroma key. Where is that on? Filter? Chroma key. Okay. Go back. Trying to do this live is a little bit challenging. All right. That's hilarious. I was trying to get the desktop. Let me see. How can I get the desktop? Camera one. Window capture on top of it. Well, that doesn't quite work, does it? Let's go back. Go back to, yeah, let's go back to, let's go full screen. Oh, I can't see it when I do that. Well, let me just hope for the best here and see what happens. It's not the one I wanted. Hold on, I'm just playing. Hold on a second. Come on, go back one more. This one. Darn it. Why isn't it letting me go back? I want that one. Huh. Maybe I just hit the back button. How about that? Well, if I wasn't in the shot, that would be a lot better. Well, and I've already missed it. That's why they do editing, folks. But that's how it's done live. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. I was just playing, trying to bide our time. And it looks like our malware bites is finished. So let me go ahead and put things back. Let me undo my damage. Turn off that. And let's go to properties. And we're going to turn that chroma key off. Oh, that's filters, not property. Turn that off. Okay. Back over to our HDMI input here. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, we are still scanning. Okay. So again, these scans can take about 40 minutes to do a full scan on a clean computer, right? That's before you've installed a bunch of software on it. So if you want to check your own PC out and do that full scan, do know that it's normal for that to take no less than 40 minutes and upwards of 2 or 3 hours, depending on how many files you have, how big your storage is, how fast it is, and how fast your computer is. But you can minimize it and use the computer as normal. You don't have to just sit and stare at it. Computers are great at multitasking, so just know that that's an option for you. I suspect this program right over here is probably what controls our screen. Yes. So here's how we can change the front LED screen on the front of this unit. Kind of like that one. We'll hit OK there. And then when I come back over to camera 1, we should see that take effect here on the front of the machine. I might have to get the close-up camera out to see it. I can't really tell from this distance. I got to walk around and look at it. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it did. Perfect. I like that. Of course, that software is included. You don't have to go to AceMagic and download it or anything like that. Peter VZ says hello. Is the SSD or RAM upgradable? That's what Cypress wants to know. That's a good question. We're going to get to that here once I can shut it down. I don't know how this opens up. I imagine it should be, yes. You should be able to upgrade the RAM and the solid state drive. I'm just not quite sure how, but I appreciate that question because we will answer that as soon as we answer this first question, which is it clean? Are we good? Lawn Dog says Battlestar Galactica. Tom Jackson wants me to check my email. Yes, sir, Tom. Why is Tom green? Mara, can you make Tom blue for me, please? If you have not done so already. And yeah, this is another great thing we can do to bide our time as we're waiting for Malwarebytes to complete, is check the old email. Sound like Strong Dad. Email, we're going to check the email. Oystein sends an Amazon gift card. He says, congrats with Studio C. I can't wait to watch the result. We can't wait to show it to you. Like, we're still visualizing it. There's not much to see right now other than a big mess. But the transformation, it should be the permanent studio for the indefinite future. Morton also sent an Amazon gift card. He says, hello again, Carey and Marlena and everyone in the chat. What a great community. Here's $50 for the building fund from Thomas. Thomas, thank you so much. Of course, we appreciate you and appreciate your friendship. And who am I missing? Oh, Tom Jackson. I don't see anything from Tom yet. So Tom, remind me, and I will check email again, unless you sent it to the Create Showcase, in which case Mara would have to forward that to me for me to see it. Okay, let me just go back over to our desktop here, and let's see how we're progressing. Got to go full screen. Okay, there we go. So these are different themes you can choose, and you can see that you can customize. If we go up here, if you want CPU temp, CPU fan speed, CPU power, CPU speed, your frequency, GPU temperature, GPU fan speed, GPU power consumption, and GPU frequency. And here you can see the time and date, the memory load, and then there's a bunch of different custom backgrounds you can choose. So if we went with this one and we said edit, I think we can, oh, I see. And we can put whatever we want on there. See that? Is it going to go? Oh, I guess we maxed out. All right, let's get rid of the date and time, because that's already on the desktop. Let's go with CPU speed and GPU. Oh, get one of these. So if I click OK on that, then when we come back over to camera 1, that should now be what's on the display. I don't know how well you guys can pick that up. Maybe if I cut the lights again. I kind of like the defaults they have, though. Like that one I had previously set. Personally, I like better. I like the color in it. Let me put that back the way it was. Default. Oh, I got to use the right mouse, Carey. We'll go over to default. We'll click OK, and then that should change it back to this display here. There we go. That. So we want to minimize. Okay, very good. Now we're bytes still scanning. Yep. Again, probably another 10 minutes of this. So once again, I'm just going to stall here and see what's going on in the chat. This is a good time for us to talk to each other. Peter from Amsterdam contributes €1. Thank you, Peter. Dazzle555 says, hey, Carey, UK here. Welcome in. Cheers, my friend. Jit says, that's an awesome machine, and it's customizable, too. There's definitely nothing like it. And sometimes manufacturers of cars and other products, perfume and alcohol, will give you a crappy product in a fancy package. But this looks like a fancy package with a fancy product. And considering the price range of something like this, with all the discounts, seems like a no-brainer to me. But, you know, to each their own. We all have our own priorities and budgets. But the exclusivity of something like this, you know, the likelihood of somebody seeing something like this in real life is pretty low. So if you want something different from everybody else, there's a good chance nobody in your inner circle will have even seen this before. It's quite an attention grabber. Ben says he cannot see it listed on Amazon UK. It will be available direct from AceMagic Like I said, they may be doing some maintenance to the site. Gary wants to know if it has fans on both sides and do they blow in one direction. It has 4 fans. It has a CPU fan, a GPU fan that are inside, and it's got a fan each on these wings. Now, do those fans blow in or out? A very easy way to tell would be to just take a piece of paper and see if the paper blows away or gets sucked in. And it looks like they're blowing out. However, the fans are not turning very fast right now, and I don't know that they ever will. So I don't know how loud or how much air they can move maximum. Maybe the fan's actually down. I'm feeling down here. I thought it has a fan here and here. And I think it has a fan here and here, or at least the airflow. You can definitely see that paper bend back, right? That's the fan blowing that at the very bottom. Yeah, it's definitely blowing out. These fans down here, you can feel if there are fans up in these wings, which I think they are, I can't feel much coming out of there. So I can't be certain. But there are 4 fans, I do know that. Oystein says it seems like it has a GeForce RTX 3070M, that's the mobile chip, with 16 gigs of RAM. That's GDDR6, I believe. He says that's a lot of video memory. Well, it's a proper mini gaming PC for sure. Alex Kaufman joining us says hello. Al Hedge thinks we should run Prime 95 on it. I guess. I mean, Al Hedge says if you want to show the site, looks like the German site is up. Yeah, we mentioned that. I appreciate the link. Let me take a quick look at it here. Perfect. Yeah, let's show that. Let me go to my window capture. Why is that not capturing? Oh, they've got the wrong name on here. So the Tank 03 is the square machine. So it looks like maybe an error here. This should be the StarShip M2A. We should be able to see specifications and fan information. The world's first AAA title sci-fi games mini PC. Covered all this. This is about the cooling system. Yes. So we have a fan over the CPU, a fan over the GPU, and then there are fans in the top of the wings there. 4 fans in total. A little bit more on the cooling here. Seven copper pipes. A little more on that front display. Our storage is 1 terabyte. It is going to be Gen 3. All of our ports, there's a USB Type-C, it's USB 4. You get one of those. You get Generation 1 USB 3.2. You get 3 of those, and then 3 Gen 2 USB 3.2s. Those are both Type A. You get a what appears to be, this is a little confusing. It says 2.5 gig RJ45. It says gigabit Ethernet port times 2. But there's not 3, because 2 gigabit ports and a 2.5 gigabit port would be 3. So I think they're saying there's 1 2.5 and 1 1. But we'll look in the device manager and clarify that. Plus we have a DisplayPort, HDMI 2.0 port, our 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, audio jack, and of course the power button. Oh, this is very interesting. So they're apparently going through a double check before they ship the machines now with semantic and antivirus. Every mini PC sold by AceMagic undergoes privacy protection technology penetration testing by top global security companies Avast and Symantec. Each program has been certified by the Microsoft Security Center whitelist. We are committed to providing every user with worry-free privacy service protection. So those products are not installed. They're used prior to shipping or in the deployment of the operating system configuration that would be cloned onto the machines. So this is the tank I'm referring to, which has very similar specifications. We have a tank. Mari uses it. She loves it. I like this one better. Like if they're the same internally, I like the looks of this one better than the tank, but until I saw this, I did like the tank. Don't get me wrong. And it looks like it's got a similar spec. You know, we could do 1 terabyte, 32 gig, RTX 3070, i9 12900H. But we already reviewed this. So if you missed that review, you can always go back to our channel's history and watch that. Okay, back over to camera 1. Here we are. Thank you, Alhez. Thank you for providing the link. Stealth mode says I want one now. Paul says fans are in the fins. Yes. Okay. So let's see how we are progressing with our Malwarebytes scan. Done yet? Still going. $42. I can't imagine it's going to go much longer. But this is a pro and a con of doing a live video, is these scans take real time. If you want to do this on your own machine, you can download the Malwarebytes trial for free. You can do the full scan just as I'm doing, and you can have a better expectation of how long you should expect this process rather than an edited video, which is very deceptive to reality. And that's important to me. Well, we're here. I can see this looks like the RGB software here. And that's so you can control the RGB colors, right? The other software was for controlling the LCD screen on the front of the unit. And this software, if that projector light shining down on your desk bothers you, you can turn that off. We can turn off the RGB if that bothers you. We can set it to rainbow. We can set it, which is where it was at, by the way. We can send it to breathing mode, where the light fades in a solid color, fades out, and then fades in a different color, fades out, and repeats that through cycling colors. Then there's just natural color cycle, which doesn't have the fade out. It's just a solid RGB light that changes colors without any sort of motion. Um, or you can turn RGB off altogether if you don't want to see that, and you can turn the projector off altogether. So if you're kind of curious what that might look like as I'm playing with it, let's see if we can figure this out here. As you can see, I've got the RGB turned off. I will turn the RGB back on. This is rainbow mode. This is breathing mode. This is called color cycle. And we can turn the projector light back on. If you look down here, when I turn this back on, it'll shine AceMagic. Did I just close Malwarebytes? One of the things about doing these live is, mistakes that could have me start over. But no, it's still running, so we're okay. You want me to do that again with the lights off? We can do that again. I mean, we're still waiting for Malwarebytes, so anything we can do to sort of bide our time here, let's do it again. Let's try it with the lights off and see if that makes a bigger difference for you. So, start over. We're going to turn this projector light off. Click. We're going to turn RGB off. Click. Now we're going to go to rainbow RGB, which is pretty much how it was set out of the box, right? Color cycling. We'll go to breathing, and now the colors are going to fade in and fade out in different colors. Color cycle is the same without the fading, right? It's just going to go to different colors. And the projector light, we can turn that back on. That's pretty much your RGB controls there. I don't see any customization. It's sort of like preset. You pick what you want there. I'll put it back into rainbow mode. Is that better? I guess I can bring the lights back up. Grown up men playing with lights, says Doman 2000. Yeah, you'd be surprised what a time waster that can be. You think, oh, I'll adjust this in 30 seconds. And 2 hours later, you're still like, do I like this better than that? One of the things I don't like about it is it can really take a lot of time up that you don't realize how much you've spent on playing around with RGB lighting configurations. So having limited choices is actually a good thing from my perspective. If I could customize it, I'd probably use that more than the whole computer, which defeats the whole point. Then you just go buy a lamp and be done with it. Back and see how we are progressing We're looking fantastic. This is what we want to see. On a clean install, you're probably looking somewhere around 250,000 files, about 250,000 files normally. So we're getting very close to the end here. It's taken a little longer than I anticipated, but better to be safe and thorough to make sure our review is accurate. I don't want to cut any corners here because we didn't have the patience to do it right. There's no bother. If you're not going to do it right, in my opinion, don't do it at all. While we're waiting, however, let's take a look at that device manager. I'm kind of curious about the Wi-Fi and the networking ports on this. So under network adapters, I see we have a Realtek Wi-Fi 6 with Bluetooth and two Realtek 2.5 gig controllers. So they're not gigabit controllers, they're 2.5. Both of them are the same. Good. Then you don't have to worry about which one's the fast one. You can use either one equally without worrying about that. Very good. We have built-in graphics in the CPU, and we have our Nvidia 3070 laptop GPU, meaning it's a mobile processor. The mobile GPUs are different from the desktop CPUs in that they're much smaller. They don't perform the same. The same is true with the CPUs. Intel laptop processors or mobile processors are what are used on mini PCs. That's normal. The desktop processors are much larger. They use more power. They get hotter. So these are similar in number, but performance is different because they are lower power, lower heat, and physically smaller. But impressive nonetheless. I was checking my email to see if I saw anything from Tom. I guess, I don't know how he's sending it, but we haven't seen anything, Tom. Just an update for you. Lawn Dog said that thing must be quiet. You're not saying anything. I was checking the phone here, but yeah, it is very quiet. I just hear my air conditioner running. All right, let's go back over to camera one anyway, because that's not too exciting to look at. It's nearly done. How different is Chrome to other browsers? You're going to have to decide that on your own. Whether or not you notice differences or those differences have preferences for you. The only way you can know is to download them and try them and make that determination. Let's open up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Once again, I'm going to film it close up while we're waiting here. So let me get the close-up camera back and grab my video controller. Let's try this again. There, it's getting all artistic for you. There we go. Done with that. Mortant said, I sent you an Amazon gift card. Well, thank you, Mortant. Yes, we read that one just a few minutes ago. Thank you. Again, he says, hello, Carey, Marlena, and everyone in the chat. What a great community. Here's $50 for the building fund. And that's from our friend Mortant. Again, thank you. And again to Oystein as well with his Amazon gift card. Definitely helps with the renovations over at Studio C. It is a floor up renovation, and it's pretty big. It'll be a bigger studio than this. So, I mean, as far as you're concerned, you're still going to see this limited amount, but I may have room for two different sets, perhaps one where I sit down to talk about things, and then one where I stand up that you're accustomed to, where I demonstrate things. Maybe. Definitely the stand up. This will get all moved with this behind me. But as for a secondary set, that is an idea, a concept. The reality of it, we'll have to wait and see what the reality of the space is once things are in it. But that's my goal, is to have two different sets. A standing set, a sitting set. Kevin Williams says, hello from my home state of Michigan. That's where I'm from originally. Detroit. Mortant says, I like that AceMagic PC. You and me both. All right, let's check on it again. Wow, well, we've exceeded 250,000 files, but we're still looking at 0 detections. That's a bit surprising it's going that far, but it is what it is, and we want to definitely be thorough on this. So it'll take what it takes. Doing stuff like this offline is more convenient for the viewer, but then how can you really know what you're seeing is real and it hasn't been manipulated in editing? That's why it takes longer to do it this way, but that's how we know it's real, because it's live and we don't have control over the outcome. In editing, we can control the outcome. How would you know if we did or not? If we said we didn't, how would you know we were telling you the truth? So in this way, there can be no doubt, and we know everything is real. Or Todd says he's going to have to watch a Star Wars movie tonight. I don't see any problem with that. Mara wants to know if we can pause the scan and test the storm cooling. I don't want to do that because I want to complete one thing before I move on to a second thing. And the reason is if we do have any detections, which I don't think we're going to, but I want to be sure, it sort of invalidates anything else we do. So we want to make sure we understand the foundation upon which we're testing on is solid. And, you know, going through the out-of-box experience is proper. Everything so far has been exactly as it should be, as if I configured it myself. And I want to see that scan complete, and then we can move on with regards to the, you know, if we do Prime 95, we want to test some cooling. If we want to do Cinebench, if we want to see how it comes apart. When I looked underneath of it, there are 4 rubber plugs on a panel on the right and 4 rubber plugs on a panel on the left. So we will uncover those plugs. I'm guessing they're screws. You take those screws off, and that should give us access to RAM and storage. Should. I'm making a complete guess based on my experience with computers and engineering, but maybe I'm wrong. And again, we're keeping this all live. So this video may run a little long. Instead of a normal 2-hour video, we may be at a halfway point here at 90 minutes. We may have yet another 90 minutes ahead of us. The good news is for anybody watching the video after this airs live, is they can scrub through the video as they see fit. Of course, they won't know what we're talking about that they skip past. They won't know what they're missing if they're just basing it on what they see. We answer a lot of questions, and we do talk about some things during what may be a boring period on the screen that people will scrub past, but that's their loss. They're going to miss that information. But it's a way to get through a live video that you know is genuine and authentic at that length, and just go through the parts you're interested in if that's what you want to do. I like leaving it up to the viewer to decide. That's how I prefer it. Ben wants to know if I should just do a quick scan. I already did that earlier, Ben, and quick scan came up clean. Because of some recent concerns, and specifically in regards to AceMagic, we want to be thorough. We don't want to play around with this because accusations have been thrown around, and I don't really care what anybody else says. I care about my own experience here, and I want to share that experience with you so that you don't think I'm paid off or some shill, but that I'm actually talking about an unbiased, realistic, and very real experience from which I derive my opinions. And I think when you join me on that journey, you will derive the same opinions I will. The difference is they'll be yours, right? It won't be for me to tell you what to think. And I believe you're probably going to come to the same conclusions I come to when you share the experience that led me to the conclusion. I think it's going to lead you to the same conclusion as well. What you find from other content creators is they've done everything offline, they've scripted, and they've got an agenda, right? There's an agenda, generally speaking, that they want to get across to their viewers. And we don't really know how they got there. We're just kind of taking their word for it. And it might be all legit, or it might not be. How do we know that they're not paid from a competitor, right? So in this way, this gives us each an opportunity from which to derive our own opinions from the exact same experience that's happening live as though you were right here with me. And I don't know how you can get any more genuine than that with current technology. And that's why I do it this way. Larry Fairchild just became a supporter of the channel. Right on. Thank you, Larry. Steve Dodd says, please chapterize the video. Oh, yeah. Well, Google does that automatically in time, but perhaps Mara might do that if she has time for it. Again, with so much going on, I'm not quite sure people really understand how much time it takes to chapterize. Well, we're also trying to renovate Studio C, tear down Studio B, and I'm helping customers in my real life business. There's so much going on right now that that type of YouTube administration is not a high priority on my list, especially for a free video. However, if that opportunity exists and if Mara wants to do it, she's certainly welcome to, but Google will auto-chapterize this I don't know how long it takes, but it does happen automatically. David Graham contributes $5. He says, I'm updating the mini PC that he's got. Okay. All right, now let me see how we're doing over here. Where are we at on this? Wow, it's still scanning. That blows my mind. So imagine this is a clean install of Windows 11. Is this Pro? Did we say it was Windows 11 Pro? Let's see. Windows 11 Home is on this. Windows 11 Home. But it is 23H2. I like to see that. I see some brand new machines coming in with 22H2, which really bugs me because 23H2 has been out for almost a year now. But just think that this is all Windows, man. That's just Windows. So when you start throwing your own software on it, whatever it is, printer drivers, setting up your email or Microsoft Office or other third-party applications, this is only going to get bigger and take longer. That's why I want to do it out of the box, because if anything happens after that, I'll know it's because of me. I'll know who to blame. Paul Garrett says the scan on my computer takes 4 minutes. That's because you're not doing a thorough scan. And when this video, sorry, I'm getting a cold Gatorade. But what I was saying is when this video is done, you can go back and see what you've missed to understand why, because that's already been discussed and explained. See if we go to desktop. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it is what it is. If you like content like this and you'd like to see more of content like this, be sure you hit that like button, that thumbs up button, and be sure and subscribe to the channel as well by hitting the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification to turn on being alerted through your email or how you choose whenever we post new content or go live. We always go live every Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. We go live for members only. That's different from a subscriber. Members are folks who support the channel. They help keep us sponsor free. And they have videos just for them. So much smaller turnout, a less chaotic chat room, less formal. Not that this is all that formal, but this is even more informal. And those videos are never made public. They are for members only. If you decide to join membership, not only are you supporting the channel, but then there are special benefits to being a member that you'll just have to be a member to see. And you get more access to me, because it can be a little crazy in the public videos trying to give everybody attention individually. Much easier in that more intimate environment, the less formal environment of the members only broadcast. And then any other day of the week, I just broadcast as time permits. But you can count on every Monday at 1 o'clock for members, every Friday at 1 o'clock for the public, and anywhere I have time in between. I have plenty of content to make. I just don't have a lot of time right now with everything going on. So I appreciate your understanding in that. Now, David's asking a question that needs to be sent privately in email. Please, David. I don't mind answering your questions, but that needs to be handled privately because we have 400 other people watching, and your question is specific to something between you and I. So I appreciate your consideration in that. And then after the show, when I have some time, I will reply to you. Thank you. Now, what else do we see in the chat? Arnold wants to know how Jimmy's doing at Studio A. He's doing well. Very good. Thank you for asking. Oystein said he had about 350,000 files and it took about 40 minutes for his scan. He might have faster than a Gen 3 drive, though. That might play a role in how long this is taking the scan. Gen 4 drive could potentially double the speed of this. There's not often times you see much difference between a Gen 3, a Gen 4, or Gen 5 NVMe drive, but something like this, and you may not notice it anyway, the scan's going to take a long time regardless. But, yeah, we're still going. Wow. No one can say I'm not thorough. You can say other things. You can't say that. Just kind of looking at the chat here to see if I've missed any other questions. If you've asked a question that I haven't seen, feel free to ask that question again. Not seeing anything. Tom Jackson says, I sent my gift card to a misspelled to showcase create. So the email address is SHOW, show, case, CASE. He's got SHO without the W. And that would explain why we haven't seen anything. SHOW, show, case, CASE, and then create, CREATA. It's close. You're one letter off. Thankfully, Amazon allows you to go in there and make those corrections. So it shouldn't be a big deal to make that change. Let's see if I go back over to this. Let me guess. It's still scanning. Well, you know, the important part is that we're getting 0 detections. That's a lot of files on a new install, I gotta say. And it is waiting on a reboot for an automatic Windows update that is applied in the background. I'm sure that's not helping speed things up either. Paul Garrett wants to know, is 970 gigabytes on a 1 terabyte NVMe drive bad? No, because the manufacturers say one gig, but Windows, when you look at the numbers, they're the same number. That 970 and the 1 terabyte, they're the same exact number. It's being calculated 2 different ways. But if we go back, for example, on any Windows computer, and we've discussed this in the past, and Theo Joe has a whole dedicated video on this. Oh, and look, our scan finished. Good timing. Good timing. So let's talk about the scan results first. Awesome. No threats were detected. View scan report. Beautiful. That's what we want to see. We scanned, how many? 304? No, 300. Hold on a second. That's too far away. 391,000 items. Wow. Yeah, so anyway, when you're looking at your drive space, there's going to be two different numbers. And I don't know why the programmers at Microsoft have done this. I think it's profoundly stupid and unnecessary. The programmers did not have to do it this way. But if we go to our C drive here, for example, and we right click and go to properties, and you can follow along on Windows 10 or 11, you might be looking at these numbers when you need to be looking at this number. This number right here is your actual capacity, okay? And when you see this number over here, you see it on the right versus on the left. These are the same number. It's being reported two different ways. One is called gigabytes and one is called gigabytes. Okay, so if you want to Google that, Wikipedia, or search on YouTube for a deep explanation of why there's two ways of calculating size, Microsoft is showing you both sizes, but they're both the same size. Yeah, if I draw the number too small on a piece of paper, or they draw the number too big on a piece of paper, it's still the number 2. It hasn't changed into a 4 because I drew it twice as big. So it's just the way they calculate it. It's the same number. Okay? Okay. With that, let's go ahead and restart this computer so we can get these updates applied. Oh, pending install. This one says it's installing still. This one is downloading. Oh, this is going to go on. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just let that do what it's doing. And while it's doing that, let me grab my utilities USB stick here. And let's grab what do I want? Grab CPU Z and a bench. Whoops. Mark. Hardware info. All right, so to do first. I don't know if this will install, but let's see what happens. Should be that flash drive. Be able to eject that. I think I've got everything I need off of there. David Graham contributes $2, and then again another $2 in super chat saying thank you. Thank you, David. Okay. Next. Install. I don't know if this is going to work, but I want to try it and see what happens. It's a pretty big demo, so it does take a minute to expand and install. Again, everything's live and in real time, so you would probably experience something very similar, if not slower, on your PC, depending on how yours is figured, how old it is, or how it's equipped. Jose Lopez contributes $2. He says, hey, Carey, sorry I'm late. Well, we're glad you joined us, Jose. Thank you for supporting the channel, my friend. Tom Jackson said he corrected the email address and resent the gift card. Right on. Thank you, Tom. We will wait for Mara to confirm that comes in. It can take about 10 minutes. Certainly appreciate your support and your patience. Oystein says, Atomic Heart Tech Demo. What's that? Well, hopefully I will show you. It's a big demo, so size-wise. It's not a long demo. It's just pretty fancy. And I recall I had an issue running it the last time I tried to run it, but I cannot remember why. So I hope I'm not just doing this for nothing. Peter, again, with a €1 contribution. Thank you, Peter, joining us from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Trevor wants to know if we can do a speed test on the C drive. Yes, we are going to do that. That's why I copied Crystal Disk Mark over to it. But one thing at a time, we will get there. Remember, it is downloading and installing updates in the background. I think you guys are forgetting that. And that's definitely going to have an impact on performance. That's why a lot of times I prefer to do the malware scan and the updates before the video goes live. So those are the things that take the longest time. And then we evaluate it, because it's really not fair to evaluate a computer that isn't fully updated or maybe updating in the background, and that will have an impact on your performance. The current, just because I seem to recall this being an issue. I remember having a problem with this demo, and I just can't remember what it was. And there was a fix for it, and I, again, just can't remember. So we're going to move over to the next one. I don't know if it's a .NET framework you need to have or some prerequisite I can't remember. But in order to just keep this video moving, we'll move on to the next one here. Peter says Utrecht, the Netherlands. Is it Utrecht? What? Utrecht. Utrecht? I'm not sure. Nowhere I've ever heard of, but sounds like a great place to visit. I have not heard the fans on this thing at all so far. It is whisper quiet, so I don't know that we've really pushed it yet. And again, we are still downloading and installing updates in the background. I think that's important to remember. And it is installed an update that it wants to restart. And pending that restart, we may not be seeing real performance, or rather our performance could be impacted negatively as a result of not restarting it. So just bear that in mind as we run this test in 1080 just to see what it looks like. And while it continues to download more updates in the background. We may also have a newer Nvidia driver to install, which we've not checked yet. So bear that in mind as well. Elko says it's a beautiful city, Carey. Recommend visiting it if you're ever in the Netherlands. Oh, well, it's have to be put on the bucket list for sure. Peter says you're welcome always, Uncle Carey. If you visit the Netherlands, let me know. Do I need to do one of those Conan O'Brien Must Go specials where I surprise viewers by showing up in their country and knocking on their door? Who are you and why are you here? I'm calling the police. I can see it now. Well, I mean, at 1080p, this demo is nothing. I mean, this machine's not even working, for crying out loud. Look at that. That's like butter. And again, I don't get any fan noise here. Look at the frames per second up there in the top right. Holy cow. That's pretty darn impressive. I mean, we're on a mobile GPU platform here. And granted, this isn't the latest and greatest graphics test, because those will generally bring any graphics card to its knees. But then if we use a newer graphics test, what do we compare it to? So you can see how this technology just continues to evolve. I am feeling some heat coming out of the sides, but I'm not hearing anything really. Oh, I can barely hear the fans now. They've cranked up just a little tiny bit. I guess it's starting to work. Look at that. Look at that. No stuttering, no strobe effect. Everything's nice and easy, nice and smooth. Remember, my capture card will only capture 1080. So if I were to run this demo at 4K, I'd have no way to capture and show it to you without a different capture card. But clearly, 4K is 4 times the resolution of 1080, and it would definitely have an impact on performance. Oystein says, no noise? No noise? I mean, again, my air conditioner's running. I'm not hearing it above the AC. Okay, so, oh, that was 1080p medium. Okay, well, 17,715 is our result there. Good enough. Let's close that. What's going on with our updates? Are they installing? What are they doing? Wants to restart now. Let's go ahead and get that done. Let it put those updates in that it wants. And any further testing we do. I mean, there's going to be some more updates that have to take place in the background, but just FYI. It is a brand new machine. Anytime you get a brand new computer, you're definitely going to want to make sure you get everything updated. Drivers, your Windows operating system for sure. And that's why I'm so grateful it has 23H2 on it already. Windows 11 Home is all a home user needs anyway. Pro is a waste of time. You're not getting anything for Pro if you're your average home user. There's no benefit to it. None whatsoever. There's not a bigger memory limit. There's not a bigger storage limit. There's not anything faster. It is exactly the same with domain access, remote desktop, virtual machines, which again, you can do a lot of this with third-party software, remote access software, like Instant House Call, not remote, but virtual machine software. You don't have to use the stuff built into Windows. So a lot of people want to see that Pro version, but it's just a waste of money for most home users. So Windows 11 Home, you'd never know the difference. It's just some words that are throwing you like you don't have enough. It's psychological. Now, we rebooted. Let's see. Already rebooted. Good, good. Okay, so now if we go to, I mean, I imagine we're still doing some updates here in the background. And we'll make sure our this is happy. My attitude on this right now is not important, but it might be in the future. But for now, I just dismiss it. But we'll see how threats change online in the coming months. Just want to make sure we get all our updates installed, or our testing is potentially invalid. Now, keeping in mind, it's doing this in the background, which isn't really fair when we're running a disk benchmark. See what kind of numbers we get. It is going to be Gen 3, and we're just going to do the two top tests here for reading and writing or sequential. But I don't know how inaccurate this is going to be since we don't have dedicated access. Well, those are not Gen 3 numbers. That's a Gen 4 number right there. So maybe the website description is inaccurate. Anything over 3600 is going to be Gen 4. Was not expecting to see 4700 on the read. Let's see what we get on our write. Yeah, that surprised me. Oof, that's painful. Oh, but it may be because Windows Update is writing to it. That's, yeah, I don't know how accurate that's going to be. Oystein wants to know if it can be heat issues. That's possible. That's not what I think it is, but it's possible. Your write speed will typically be a bit less than your read speed by 500 or even 1,000. It's not normally half, but we are writing to the drive with Windows Update in the background, which could be which is a factor. I just don't know how big of a factor, and that's why these tests are sort of invalid if you don't have dedicated, isolated use of the drive. As long as we have other background processes using the drive, then this, can only do what it can do when sharing the drive with another process at the same time. And that's what I think it is. However, I suppose we could pull up, let me grab my USB flash drive again and pull up Crystal Disk Info, see what it can tell us about the installed drive. It'll tell us if it's Gen 3 or Gen 4, so I don't have to guess. Let's go back to my PC testing software, back to Crystal Disk Info. I was debating whether or not to copy that over, and I thought, why would I need that? Well, live and learn. Let's bring that up and see what it says. We're going to see two drives. We'll see our SanDisk drive. That's the flash drive I use. But this is the internal storage, which, yes, it's Gen 4. So the website description on the AceMagic and the Amazon page appear to be incorrect, and we'll let AceMagic know that because that's not to their advantage. And our temperature is very reasonable at 54. Power on count, power on hours, that's all expected on a brand new build. They're low. And I don't know who the manufacturer is here. I don't know what RS1DOT is, but we can open it up and take a look and see what's going on inside. But yeah, I mean, we're still installing and downloading. Obviously, when it's downloading, it's saving the downloaded information onto the drive. And when it installs it, it's installing onto the drive. So regardless of where it is in the Windows Update process, it is writing to the drive. Easy Otter says, thank you, Carey, for taking time out of your move to show us this computer. Well, I'm glad you're as excited about it as I am. I doing this for me. Peter said he'd found that Windows 7 Pro worked better with me in Windows 7. But since Windows 10, the Pro and Home version differences went away. This is true. Yes, there used to be a reason regarding like how much RAM you could have and stuff like that in Windows 7. But yes, that went away in Windows 10 and 11. Mara says, just caught this computer tower provides dual M.2 NVMe SATA slots, which can be upgraded to a max 4 terabyte. I wonder if that's accurate. We'll find out. All right, so I guess what I'll do is I'm going to eject my flash drive again. This ejection process really isn't necessary. It used to be, but as long as you're not reading or writing to the flash drive, you can just pull it without that eject first. Old habits die hard, I suppose. Better safe than sorry. However, you'll sometimes, I'm a bit inconsistent with that. Sometimes I'll just pull the flash drive. Sometimes I eject it. It depends on my mood. But technically, you don't have to do that. Not anymore. Let's go ahead and shut this down because I want to open it up. I'm now curious what's going on inside. And then we'll bring it back up with Cinebench as well as, wow, that was a fast shutdown, as well as other testing that you guys request that I can perform. I'm happy to do. Like I said, this video is going to run a little bit longer than most, but you don't see something like this every day. So let's take our time. Let's make sure we're thorough and we get it done without having to redo it would be my preference. First thing I'm going to do is unplug power. We don't want to work on that with power in it. And we'll unplug our HDMI and Ethernet cables. Now, when we bring the bottom, let's expose the bottom here. Maybe I can do the overhead on this one. Give me a minute because it shares the same input cable to the capture card as the handheld close-up camera. So it does require me to do a little management here of cabling, and I better provide power to it because I'll bet its battery is dead from sitting here. It's something that disappoints me with the Sony cameras. Normally with lithium-ion batteries, they can sit for months without any degradation in the battery charge. But with the Sonys, I don't know what the heck's going on. But let's see, we want to run this cable away from the camera shot. Bring it up this way. Same thing here with USB power. I cannot see the plug at this angle. See that? Show you how all the tricks are done. How the magic happens. Turn on. It's possible my battery is so dead it won't even turn on. I might need to let it. Wow, that's pretty bad. I've never seen it not turn on before. So let's keep moving forward and let that charge for a couple minutes, and we'll come back and check it. Let's get it out of the shot. And we'll revisit that in a minute. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That battery was so low, it wouldn't even turn on until it had a little bit of a charge on it. Let's see if I can adjust this and make this work. Bear with me for a second. It's going to need to be framed in. No video signal. Let's try that. How about now? Battery is exhausted. You and me both, my friend. I would assume that the USB power would be taking that over. So we're not exactly the best prepared for that, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove these little rubber feet that are right here on the bottom. Let me just bring it up to the camera. And then as far as any close-up goes, I mean, it's not going to be that hard to tell what I'm doing. Figure out how this comes off. But you can see there, the little black dots here. These are rubber feet. That looks like we can just pry those up, and I'm going to guess they're screws. And we've got two here, in the same mirrored over on the other side and at the bottom. And I'm guessing that each panel comes off to expose either RAM or SSD or both. So we'll find out. Now, when it comes to pulling these up, they're kind of recessed a little bit. So probably like a little pointy object. I have these little probes or dental picks that might be just the thing for the, oh yeah, it just comes right off. Beautiful. These rubber feet are not stuck with tape. They're just form fitted, which is I'm very grateful for. And honestly, if you didn't put these little rubber feet back on, no one would ever know. These are the rubber feet you worry about. This is what can scratch the desk. This is just for looks for anybody that's looking underneath of it. And I have to say that even if you were to look underneath and those weren't there, I don't think you'd know anything was missing if you compare them side by side with and without the rubber feet. Not that big of a difference. And you can see the type of screw we've got down there. Looks like just a standard Phillips, maybe a number 1. You know, the stand works the other way to hold it up while you're working on it. That's kind of nice. here and see, is that, oh, perfect fit. 1, 2, 3, and 4. No jeweler screwdriver needed. No specialty Torx bit needed. Thank you, AceMagic. Now what? Does it just lift up? How does this come off? Something is holding it. There are some clips, but something is holding it on this side. What could that be? See if I'm missing any screws on each side. Something right in here somewhere. Now, it may just be a plastic clip. I don't want to break it, so I'm being extra cautious. I'm going off of instinct and logic without any sort of instruction. And that way, if you get one, I will have done the work for you. You won't have to figure it out. The best of my knowledge, how this opens is not available at this time anywhere online, so we're the first to do it. My concern is there's another screw, and there is a screw right in behind this plastic. I'm not quite sure how this plastic comes off. So there's an order of things, right? Sometimes something like this may have to come off to get to an exposed screw here. Other times this piece has to come off first. And that's a problem when we don't have any, when we're the ones doing it first, we got to figure this out. Because if that screw right there is going through this, that would be holding that in, preventing us from taking it out. And if I force it out, it'll break the plastic and it will never sit right again. If it's just a plastic clip that's being stubborn, I certainly don't want to break the plastic clip. And that screw may have nothing to do with this whatsoever. In fact, it may be impossible to take this front cover off without first removing a bottom panel. I just don't know. So it could go either way. I was hoping with those 4 screws removed, this would just pop off. Now, to avoid scratching this, I would recommend put something soft underneath of it, you know, a towel or, and of course, because it's all plastic touching the towel, you shouldn't have any worry of static discharge. Makes me nervous. Can you tell? Hmm. Mm-hmm. I think we are going to go ahead and remove the other side. Since everything's mirrored on the other side, I want to see if the other side is as stubborn. Knowing me, first side I pick is the difficult one. There is, however, a visible screw behind that panel on the front, driving in equally on both sides, which could be holding this in. I just don't know. Yeah, there's something is fixed here that to me feels way too strong to just be a plastic clip. I just can't see where it's hidden. There are no other screws that I see anywhere on here. Only other place there are screws, and I'll show you if I bring this up to the camera what I'm looking at, that I think might be involved, potentially, are right there behind the panel. And on the same, right down here, there's a screw. But then I'd have to figure out how to get this cover off first. See what I'm saying? And I don't see any way that cover comes off without potentially gouging it even with a spudger. Or for all I know, the cover's being held on with screws that are underneath this. And I'm just being too gentle. That's possible too. But the ease with which this side comes up is pretty obvious. And then it gets stuck, like something is really holding on to it. Does wiggle. And I don't see any screws holding it down on this side. So if it were just a screw on this side would pop up okay, and this side wouldn't. The only other possibility I can think of is there's something underneath this rubber foot, like a long screw going in like that, which to me would be overkill. And again, without having any diagram to go off of, I suppose we just have to peel it up and look. Oh, I'm already... So one of the reasons I don't like peeling up the rubber feet is sometimes the double-sided sticky tape sticks. Oh, hello. We do have a screw on the... Coming from the back of it, there is a screw right through here. Would you look at that? Now that one is going to require a thinner driver. Hold on a minute. Wrong place, Carey. There it goes. Wow. Wow. That's going all the way. Did you see how far in that went? Oh, 2.5 inches. So my question is, why is there not the same thing on the other side? Oh, there is. It's just that. So remember I said the tape can come up, or the tape rather can stick to the unit rather than to the foot, and I think the tape stuck, and that's why I didn't see it. Kind of bummed out about that, to be honest. There it is. There it is. Right there. Glad I didn't use a lot of force taking it off. Woo! Okay. What are we doing now? Did I get them all the way unscrewed? See, this screwdriver is not magnetized. I really should be using a better driver for this. Or maybe I could just magnetize this one. See the screw come with the driver. These screws aren't coming out. Not quite sure I'm getting the screws fully removed, so I need to get a better screwdriver for this. And for that, I'm going to use my iFixit toolkit, because this is my go-to whenever I run into anything that's pretty much not a desktop, really. So I don't know that we're going to have the length we need with this driver, though. I don't think that's going to work. Pretty sure we're not going to be able to get down. No, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, not going to happen. That's not going to work. Well, this is the first thing I've seen I don't like. Let's see if we have any luck with a precision driver set. Much better. And the screw came out with it. Good. Now I know it's out. Let's do the same thing on the other side. It's the same size screw. There's nothing different about it, so it's just in there pretty deeply. Whoa, hello. That is not helpful at all. Now we do have two more screws here and here. Set this aside here. What are you guys saying in the chat? Lawn Dog has what appears to be a page for us from AceMagic in Germany. I don't see how this page helps us take it apart. Am I missing something? Well, I don't think we have a choice but to take out the other side. This side does have an L on it, labeling it as the left side, but I think that's, oh, I guess not. I guess it would not be obvious. So when it says L on it, I'm assuming that's left. And left means if you're looking at it from the front, that would be my left. And I'm assuming this other side will say R when we take it out. Same thing here where the rubber foot is sticking to the unit. So I have to punch through that to get. I know there's a hole underneath that's covering. Okay, and that removes both of those screws. So 6 screws per side. And yes, this has an R on the bottom of it. Oops, I think I just dropped a screw. That's what the underside looks like so far. And if we take a look at the underside of this, you can see we have a couple of screws holding this whole back panel on here and here and here, etc. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 sounds right. So what did I hear when I set this down? I don't know what that was. I heard something fall off the side of the desk. What that was. All right, moving on. So the tank is a lot easier to get into. No screws, no tools are required to get to access your RAM or your storage on the tank. So there is a price for the aesthetic. Now, I don't know that these screws are any different than the other ones, but you see I'm making two separate piles just to put them in the same place. Ooh, that feels like there's a screw right underneath their sticker. Like they want to know if you opened it. What I do is I push down on the stickers and I feel if there's a hole underneath, and there's a hole right underneath that. I usually just push the screwdriver right through. If it bites onto something, it'll pull the sticker up. There we go. There is a power cable that lights up the little LED. And I suppose the right way to do this see if I can get that overhead camera running now that it's had some time to charge up. Let's see where this has to go. Something like that. So when I lift this up, there is a power cable right underneath here that comes out. But I feel like we're on the wrong side. Like usually where the fans are is the underside, and typically your RAM and storage will be on the other side of the board. I do see our Wi-Fi card right there. Trying to get a glimpse underneath. I think I am going at this backwards. Now there are a couple of screws holding on the other side, but these are RGB'd, so they're probably wired in. But typically your Wi-Fi card is on the other side as well. So we're definitely dealing with a different kind of a design here. I am hesitant to remove these fans because I don't want to break the seal that they have for the thermal compound that they're using, and could have a negative impact on the cooling performance. So I'm going to grab a little flashlight and see if I can look underneath these fans without removing them, because I'm going to guess the CPU and GPU are underneath those, not our RAM or storage. Like I say, typically the RAM and storage are going to be on the other side. And I don't see any user serviceable areas from the other side. In other words, if we were to take these other wings off, they go across the whole front here. So I'm suspecting there's something holding them down, not just here, but also maybe somewhere around this area, which would be under. Not quite sure how we'd access that. You see a screw here and here. Which looks like you could lift the whole board out to get to the other side. I see a number of screws on the front. Now that I'm looking at it with a flashlight, I see a screw here, 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 and here. I see 6 in behind this clear panel. One, two, three on this side, same on the other. You can see where it clips in here and here. But that looks like all that's going to do is affect our front panel. That does not look like it's, those screws would not, I can't imagine a circumstance where you would need to take those out. I am baffled, guys. I can see the CMOS battery is underneath the Wi-Fi card, but I don't see RAM or storage. I think they're on the other side. And the only way I can tell to get to the other side is to remove the 2 screws holding down the circuit board and the 2 screws on this bracket that's keeping this heatsink seated here. And when you take this out, you got to remember you've got a ribbon cable, connecting this front panel, but you've got all your ports on the back also. And that just is quite intimidating to me, quite honestly. It doesn't seem that I'm doing this correctly. I hope I'm not doing it correctly, because that seems awfully difficult to upgrade. I don't see any RAM sockets or NVMe sockets underneath these heat spread, underneath these fans. There could be there, and I'm just not seeing them. But that's still, first of all, it would be an unusual location. and it would still be quite difficult. That'd be a lot of screws to get to just to do a simple NVMe upgrade. So I don't believe that's what's happening, but I could be wrong. Well, I'm about as comfortable as I'm going to get taking this apart. I don't want to go any further without some documentation. I don't want to break anything, and I think there's got to be an easier way than this. I'm not seeing it. So yeah, this may have to be a part 2 when I hear back from perhaps AceMagic, or someone else will make a video. Because I don't know how you get to the RAM or storage. It claims to be upgradable. I'm not sure how. This would be far more difficult the way I'm doing it. And I have to believe there's an easier way than this. So, interesting nonetheless, just to get a little sneak peek what's going on there. These cables are awfully short. That's a real challenge. I know you're not seeing much here. I think we're going to go back to camera 1 because I am trying to figure out which direction this cable goes back on. Very tiny. It's got to be easier than this. Right? Must be. So part of the problem is I might need to get more magnification since we're dealing with really teeny tiny connectors in a very tight spot with a very short cable. That's why I don't want to take it apart any further, because there'd be more of those I have to take off. And then if that's all unnecessary because you're supposed to get at it a different way, yeah, I don't want to even go down that road until I know for a fact that's the right road. And even then, it's decked out really well with the RAM and SSD. But the Tank 03, like I say, you just pop the side off, no tools required. So keep that in mind if that's important to you. That's back on. Those magnifiers can be put back. Phew. Getting a little nervous. Take the thing out of the box and break it before the end of this, before the sun goes down. You don't want to tighten these too much. You know, you don't want to crack the plastic. It's not got to be watertight. So you just right till they're snug and stop. But for the record, and just so we're clear, there was a screw underneath the sticker, right there where the hole is. And that's the only one in the middle. The others are exposed and easy to see. Clicks on. That should be the left. This should be the right. So there's a little bow here, which I think maybe when I took it off, I broke a little clip. And it may have been what I heard bounce off the desk. The screws will secure that down. And then, of course, the pressure on the feet will keep it down as well. Just be careful with that. Anytime you deal with laptops or anything that uses clips, they're very easy to break. And the older the unit gets, the more brittle those plastic clips become. And it's part of what makes me a little bit of a nervous Nelly, especially on a customer's machine or on a brand new machine that I'm evaluating. I don't intend to break it, especially when I'm figuring everything out on my own without any guide, which is typically every day in the world for me. With customer machines that roll in, you rarely see the same thing twice. Most mini PCs, apart from maybe upgrading the Wi-Fi, storage, or RAM, are going to be very similar with laptops with regards to repairability. Unlike a laptop, this is less likely to be dropped or suffer the kind of damages laptops are subjected to. But a lot of people don't upgrade desktops anyway. They usually just buy a new one after a while, like the general public. Two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, it looks like oh, I see. I was gonna say it was looking like I was missing a screw, but they're all there. Put our little rubber feet back on. Some of these look angled. So it looks like the angled ones just a little bit different to go here onto the sides if you want it to be completely flush. And you can tell because this one's not lining up correctly. I didn't notice that when I took them off. But yeah, there's a little angle to these feet that go on this angled side. Not notice that at first. It's got a little groove in it too, like it's supposed to seat into something, but I can't tell. Get it figured out. Okay, one's missing, Carey. Where is it? Where did it go? Maybe that's what I heard fall off the desk. Well, let's keep going. Is he left-handed or right-handed? Nobody knows for sure. Stealth mode says one of the rubber plugs was missing right out of the box. You caught it on cam. Oh, did I? Okay. Well, that'll save me some time looking. I don't know how important those are, honestly. Not too worried about it. Again, don't over tighten those. Done with my little pick, so it's got a little protector so you don't poke yourself with it. We'll put that back on. That'll go back in the drawer, and this can go back in this case. Two drivers can go back. Okay. Let's go back to camera one. Now, where were we? Oh, I found a rubber foot on the floor. I think I found it. All better. Find out you just push something down and the top pops off. Just checking. You never know. No idea. All right, let's make sure we didn't break it. Sure we didn't break it. Here we go. Ooh, that's a fast boot up if I ever saw one. All right, let's take a look at Cinebench, I think will be the right thing to do here in HW Info. Again, it's going to be automatically grabbing those missing Windows updates in the background, and we really should allow that to complete. But be that as it may, we're going to continue on with that as a sort of a caveat. Also listening for any fan noise. If we pull this down a little bit more, we can see our package power. CPU clock. Our PL1 and our PL2. Current temps, our lowest and our highest temps so far. I'm just scrolling through the chat, seeing what I've been missing while I've been having my attention there on the technical side of things. Thank you to Thomas Mac T. He sent a $25 Amazon gift card. He says, this is for Studio C. And I'm glad another Tom is doing an awesome job for you. Does this mean that Marlena DG will get an office upgrade? Yes. I tried updating my OS Chrome and rebooted. Still can't chat. Tell everyone hello. Huh. That is very strange. Speaking of Toms, Tom Jackson sends $77.77 as an Amazon gift card. Says, here's the Studio D. Well, that might be in Detroit. Actually, no, if I go back to Michigan, or when, likely in the Grand Rapids, Studio G, GR. So right now we're doing a CPU multi-core test here. Cinebench R23. Mara says, Thomas MacT got chat working. Right on. All right, I have to move up a little closer to the screen so I can read it the way you guys can. Oh, wow, we only hit 70? That's nothing. Usually, if we're going to hit a high temp, we'll hit it in the first 60 seconds. Oh, no, wait a minute. It says core thermal throttling, yes. It may be throttling at 70. That may be set in a BIOS. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. That explains it. The 70 seems awfully low. Well, now, wait a minute. I see 71 now. And we shouldn't throttle until 100 degrees Celsius. So I see our core distance to our throttle junction max That doesn't make any sense. CPU packages hit 75 degrees Celsius. So maybe not a 70-degree setting in the BIOS. I'm curious about the whole core thermal throttling saying yes. Not sure when that happened. But as long as it's not crashing or overheating, I don't mind that. Just curious about it. Each of these tests take about 10 minutes to run when we do the R23 benchmarking. And of course, benchmarking is time consuming. A real thorough review will do numerous benchmark results because no two results on the same machine will be the same. And so you'll run them several times and then take the average of the runs in order to get anything halfway decent in a review. I don't want to do that because I don't care to that level. I just want to get sort of a ballpark idea of where we're at, and that's close enough for me. Anything else is crumbs. I want the cookie, you can have the crumbs. Some people want the cookie and the crumbs. They'll lick their finger and rub it along the bottom of the cookie package and get every last drop. I'm not that guy. So I also don't have that kind of time. Got to move on. So we'll go ahead and run these tests. They take long enough. Oh, I feel some heat coming out of the back of this thing. It's clearly working. And because the back is facing me and I'm right up against the desk, I'm feeling the heat hit me around my belly. I'm like, what is that? Am I having a stroke? No, we're running Cinebench. So Mara has sent me a photo that shows the M.2 and the RAM underneath the top wings, which is where I suspected they were. I just have no idea how to get to them because the picture does show the power button in the middle. But it must be an easier way to get to these. But it would definitely be on the other side of the board. I would assume you don't have to take the whole board out and flip it over. There must be a way to take the top wings off. And I would hope it was a lot more convenient than the bottom ones were. But I have no idea. I don't see any release, which is unfortunate. But that doesn't mean there's not one there. I'm just not seeing it. Should be on our final benchmark test of the multi-core R23 results. Max temp so far, I see 73. And a max CPU package temp of 75. I'm happy as long as we're at 85 or below. So once this test completes here in a few seconds, we'll do the single core test. And that'll be another 10 minutes once we start the single core test. Okay, that's our results on multi-core, and let's do our single core. It intentionally runs for 10 minutes to heat things up, and then once things are nice and hot, then it runs the actual benchmark. That's how the folks at Cinebench designed this, or the folks at Maxon, that's how they designed it. And you think the multi-core test would be more intense, but the single core test is usually the one that'll push it hardest. So I'm seeing a core max of 90 degrees Celsius. Remember I mentioned that it typically will happen within the first minute, if it, the hottest point. And at 90, if clearly whatever the thermal junction is, or the thermal throttle, I'm not sure what temperature that's kicking in at, but it's important that it kicks in. Because right now we're just running 50, 60 degrees Celsius, but a moment ago we hit 90. 90 is okay. We're still 10 degrees away from the thermal junction. I don't really want to go any higher than 90. I do see a CPU package of max temp of 93. I'm still barely okay at 93, but this is an extreme test that doesn't really represent reality. And as long as it can pass this okay without, I mean, if we're going to hit 97, 98, 99, I probably won't run this test on it anymore, but we'll see. I think we're through the worst of it, and everything else should be cake from here forward. But time will tell if I'm right or not. The numbers on the left that are highlighted in blue, that's our current temperature. And then the numbers I'm looking at, if you look at the top, you'll see current, minimum, maximum, and average. I'm looking at that maximum. That's our peak, but that's already passed. And we know our cooling system's functioning. And that's why I didn't want to touch or remove the fans, because I want to make sure that the numbers we see are from the factory and nothing that I've done to either cause a difference in positive or negative cooling. It likely would be negative, honestly. I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you don't break the seal between the heatsink and the CPU unless you really know what you're doing. And even then, I wouldn't do it on a brand new machine. After a few years, if you think it needs a repasting or something, but there's really nothing to fix here. It's running as it should. I'm not worried about this yet. It's 102 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now here in Phoenix. We're going to be 110 this time next week. It's just going to keep growing from there. Lucky Phoenix people, huh? -92°C maximum. 92. And a CPU package max of 93. So when it comes to these mini PCs, no differently than desktops, I don't like to see anything over 85 max. However, as a gaming PC that's designed to be pushed hard, keep me below 95. Otherwise, I won't feel like I'm getting everything out of the CPU that I could be. So there is sort of a paradox to it, where there's a different standard that I consider. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see us hitting 98, 99, or 100 on these mini PCs. Period. End of story. Something's not right if that's the case. So as long as we stay under, 98, 97, anything beyond that, I will shut the test down. We're close. We're very close. But that's where you want to be. If you want the best bang for your buck, you want to be able to push it that far. But I wouldn't want to push it that far regularly. But from time to time, no problem. But if it's going to run, 95 or above for hours on end, day after day, week after week, month after month, your computer may have a very limited life. But 95, 96, temporarily, that's okay. Hey, there's Frankie B joining us. Welcome in, Frankie. Good to see you. Ben Laird wants to know if I can email some sun to Scotland. I'll send you some rain. That's a fair trade. But the cost of shipping is going to kill me. So again, it'll do that countdown to warm everything up for 10 minutes and then run the actual benchmark if you're wondering what that clock is ticking down there on the upper left. Patrick Manning says you have a dry heat with only 4% humidity. What's the humidity of fire? Okay, about a minute 50 seconds left on the warm-up. Still looking at a maximum 92. And a CPU package maximum of 93. Ooh. This CPU does have 14 cores and 20 threads. It is Intel's 12th gen flagship consumer processor. There is, as far as I know, no higher end 12th gen processor, mobile processor available. You'd have to go to 13th gen. And then I don't even know what the 14th gen ones are out yet. The desktop 14th gens are out, but I don't know if the mobile 14th gens are out. Maybe. Can't stay on top of everything all the time, man. Give me a break. Some slack. Okay, you're almost done with this. Badgerland Dan wants to know if you use your own password with RoboForm. Yes. Preferably a passphrase, not a password. I would recommend you watch the interview with our friends at RoboForm, Simon, to learn how it works. We go through all of this and more, and I think you would find that video very helpful. Okay, so after this, I think we'll probably wrap the video up. It's gone even longer than I expected it would. I didn't expect the teardown to be that. What's the word I want? The opposite of obvious. it was very inconspicuous. Anyway, and it's the completely wrong side we need to remove. We need to remove the top. I don't know if you have to remove the bottom first, or I have to imagine, and I have to hope there's an easier way, but we'll have to reach out to AceMagic and find out. Or maybe I'll play with it a little bit offline. I just don't want to break it. I really like it a lot. And there's really nothing in there I want to upgrade. I'm very happy with this configuration, I have to say. You're not going to be upgrading the GPU. That's going to be soldered down. So if you want the 3080, you cannot upgrade to it later. You need to order it with that config the way it's going to stay. 3060, 3070, or 3080 will be soldered on the board. And that's true of all mini PCs. Otherwise, you'd have to use some kind of external GPU, which is going to cost you more than the whole computer. Mara says, I think the top is a panel of some sort that either is a push, like Dennis mentioned, or a pull slide. Well, my concern is it has RGB on those top panels that likely are connected with a wire. And if you have to pull or slide it and you do so with too much force, you would yank the wire, rip it right off the board. So that's my concern. I would hope there was some kind of a release mechanism, but you know, that you could unclick. But there's nothing I can see. If it is integrated, it's very well integrated. And I would love it if that's the case, but I have no idea. Yeah, the manual says it's a PCIe 3.0.4, so even the manual's not correct. I'm just looking back through the manual to see if there's anything else in it, but no, nothing indicates a button to be pressed to open it. Nothing indicates in the manual how you would upgrade the RAM or SSD. That seems to be lacking. But they do have customer service. We can email them and see what they say. There did appear to be screws holding the top in. So if there are plastic catches holding the top panels on, I think they're also combined with screws, just like the bottom one. I'd be happy to be wrong about it. Well, there's our final numbers and benchmarks on Cinebench R23 and temperatures with maximum temp sustained during the single core performance, which is pretty expected. And 92, we're right there, right there. I'm good with it. Trying to remember why this didn't work for me last time I tried to run it. What it needed. See. See anything happening with Windows Update for some reason. Whoops, I didn't mean to run the installer. Cancel that. Well, that's superposition. I don't like that either. Okay, let me not confuse myself. Essentially what you can do, you should be able to go to Nvidia. You can get an idea of how old these are. But if you have an RTX card or you want to, see what Nvidia is officially recommending themselves, it looks like the lower I go, the older these get. So I suppose the newest one will be on the top. And that's a couple of years old, 5 years old. And these are big demos. They will take a while to download. So that's where I'm getting them if you're curious. And then, of course, there are YouTube videos that record these demos if you're wondering what they look like. You obviously have to know that's one of my favorites. But I have had problems with these two running. They needed some prerequisite. I cannot remember what it was. And any RTX 20 series or greater NVIDIA graphics card, these are meant to showcase those abilities. Okay, so in the meantime, let's go back over to camera one here, and we'll wrap it up for today. I want to thank you all for hanging out on what is a very long, unexpected broadcast, so we could be thorough on this review. Overall, this is a major thumbs up for me, except with regards to we upgraded. I don't know enough yet to say yay or nay on that. So I'm going to give it benefit of the doubt. And regarding the rest of the unit, other than this, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love everything about it. Performance, looks. I like the controls on the RGB. I like the little laser projector. I love all of it. Just nothing looks like this. And it's got a very respectable performance. Very respectable. Clearly, if you want to build a desktop, you can spend 2 or 3 times the amount of money and blow this thing out of the water with a 14900 KS and a 4090 or something. But being reasonable, being able to just have something as close to a console where it's kind of plug and play and there's no additional, depending on how you spec this out, it's certainly more power than you're going to get out of a PlayStation currently or Xbox. That being said, PlayStation and Xbox are still going to be more plug and play with regards to downloading games. But with this, you should be able to update it, put Steam on it, and have an identical experience with modern PC gaming. As for doing any work on it, real office work, it'll do it. It's just inappropriate for most offices. Most offices do not want this at any price. It's too distracting from the workforce. And, there's why their variety exists is so that you can accommodate both consumers and businesses. And not all businesses are anti-RGB. Most. But businesses like game developers or certain specialty businesses might actually have something like this. So when I speak in those general terms, I'm talking about the vast majority. And so for the vast majority of businesses, something like this would not even be considered. But for a consumer, well, there's a lot to like. And with those discounts and the pricing the way it is, yeah, it's a good deal. I'm also happy to put to rest this whole issue of infected computers. You clearly see that wasn't the case here. And I'm certainly glad about that, to be honest. I definitely did not want to see anything else. And, it's one thing for a company to say something. It's another thing for a company to do what they said they were going to do. And it looks like they've done just that. So I'm very happy with that. I want to thank everybody who has contributed throughout today's show, all of our supporters, our members, super chat contributions, Amazon gift cards. Thank you guys so much. Oystein, Buster, Frankie B, Peter VZ, David Graham, Jose Lopez. Welcome, Larry Fairchild, as a new member. Thank you again. Paul M, Deuce X Macchiato, Thomas Mac T, who renews his membership and his contribution, Ben Laird and Rick Lakes and Mark Gaines and Tony Wallow, as well as, of course, our friend Mortant. And I want to shout out all these credits here. Tom Jackson, can't forget Tom Jackson. And Lou Greenia. You guys rock. Thank you so much for making these shows possible. Thank you to AceMagic for sending the M2A StarShip to us to review. And we'll have to do follow-up on this as well once I figure out how the top opens. We'll do that on a separate part 2 video. So hours and hours and hours. But I don't know if it's worth spending 4 hours on a $200 computer, but at this price point, I think you should definitely want to know as much as you can about it before you invest that kind of money. If you order from Amazon, you know they have 30-day free returns. So if for any reason you don't like it, you can send it back. Just keep that in mind. When you order direct from AceMagic, I'm not quite sure how that works. They probably have something similar, but their site currently is down. Hopefully that'll be back up soon. I'm assuming it's maintenance. I don't know. That'll wrap it up for me for today. Thank you again to our friends at RoboForm and Acronis for supporting us here, as well as to VIP CDK deals, where they all offer 30% off to you guys, the audience. Read the video notes below this video for all the specs and links that we talked about, including links to Amazon for this unit. A link to the AceMagic site for this unit will be available once we're able to generate it. And then the links for 30% off on those supporters are also available in the video description. As a reminder, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. Subscriptions are free. It's only the memberships that cost money, and those have different privileges. Find me in Hawaii with $1.99 there in the last minute. Thank you. Find me in Hawaii. That's Ken. Thank you, Ken. That'll wrap it up for me. Thank you to Mara. Put her to work today. Great thumbnail, video description, and for monitoring the chat. That'll wrap it up for me for today. I will see you all very, very soon. And until next time, bye for now. Trying to find an outro. I thought I had one. Let's do this one.